everyone, to another green investment meeting here in Nashville, Tennessee, but we're broadcasting it live to anyone who wishes to watch. I gave the card to several people today that couldn't make it here in person, and hopefully they can watch it on their phone or laptop or home computer. When I was back in my able to get on the roof days and crawl behind toilet days, I didn't mind buying houses, but I didn't like buying condos because I always thought that the maintenance fee was sucking up my profits. But now that I'm a senior citizen, I sort of like senior citizens. They don't fix their motorcycles on my living room carpet. They don't, cook crack in the house. They don't have 28 kids drawing all over the drywall in my house. They pay the rent because they both get Social Security. I like old people now. They live there forever. As long as you take care of them, they take care of you. And when they go, to the old folks' home, you just get another senior there. I don't know why I didn't think of this when I was younger. And now you worry about the so-called condo Nazis, but actually that's another eye on your property. You don't have people outside having their car up on blocks, repairing their cars and stuff. So now Sharon's going to tell us these are some of the goods. Last week she should have scared everybody with the bads, and there are bads. But the goods are, I think outweigh the bads. They're smaller, they're easier to take care of. You can buy 3 times as many as you can a house. So we're going to let Sharon finish her part 2 of what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly of buying condos. So without anything further, Sharon Restrepo from West Palm Beach, Florida. Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you. All right, guys, thanks a lot. So we're going to finish up today. So basically, this is buying a condominium, part 1 and part 2, and it's the due diligence involved in buying condos. And so last week we covered condo rules and restrictions, condo budgets, what to look for, how they're spending their money, their assessments, any pending assessments that will affect you, percentage of units rented, and how that affects you being able to sell your unit. And today we're going to wrap up with amenities, number of associations at a complex, buying at foreclosure auction, and more. Okay, so I talk kind of quickly, and I don't think we're going to be too long. But when you are buying a condo, basically you are taking advantage of, paying your share of all of these amenities that can be offered to you in whatever, complex that you're in. And amenities can range, this is just a few, but depending on where you are in the country and whatever's trending, maybe because of the weather in the country, the climate, there's a reason why something might be more desirable in that particular part of the country. So, typically you'll find a clubhouse is a common thing, and it has a pool table and maybe, a place for people to lounge and meet and hang out and have parties, and, rent the clubhouse for events and things like that. And so you might have clubhouse at varying levels of what they do in the community. A lot of our 55 plus communities down here have, entertainment going on in these, theatrical looking clubhouses all the time. Golf is very popular down here in South Florida. So we have a lot of golf courses inside of our community. So gyms and spas and security, maybe it's a gated community, maybe there's a patrol security 24/7 going around the community. It might offer transportation, on every other day, there's buses that take people who live in the community to the shopping center, the grocery store. Entertainment can be provided. Dock space. We have a lot of waterfront communities where docks are either included or the opportunity to buy a deeded dock space is available if you are an owner in the building, or the building was smart and they retained all of the dock ownership and rented out to everybody. And then garage and storage space. So you might actually find that although you live on the 10th floor, there are garage buildings downstairs and you actually rent a garage space from another unit owner, or you bought one and own one. So you have a deeded garage space with your unit, as well as storage space. A lot of times it's common that you have additional storage that's not inside your unit, but maybe down the hall or down at the parking lot or things like that. Okay, so this is just a few amenities that can range the gamut of what you can find when you purchase, in a condominium complex. All right, so amenities as we continue, we'll also have restrictions like membership communities, okay? So you have communities where as long as you own there, you can use everything, your guests can use everything, and whether there's a fee for it or not, okay? But typically it's included because it's part of your monthly condo association dues. Now, there are communities that are membership-based communities. Not membership-based, but they're membership communities. In other words, if you live there, you must you must become a member, okay? So you have membership optional communities and membership mandatory communities, okay? It's funny down here because Boca Raton is a very, very popular, high demand city in South Florida that people want to live. And so, I'll have investors that say, I want to buy a second home. And they're sending me listings off Realtor.com that they can buy these condos for $25,000 in Boca. So the only reason that you would find an inexpensive property that is gorgeous and offers you all kinds of things is because the membership is about 80 grand or 100 grand, So in other words, these membership communities, it's typically expensive to join, and so it brings down the values of the actual unit that you're buying. Okay, so they're not giving anything away in Boca, okay? So you might have initiation fees. So when you first buy it, you pay like this big fee to join in and become a unit owner there, but then you don't ever pay that fee again. So it might be very substantial on the move-in, but now it's $10,000 or $12,000 a year plus monthly fees. So there's annual, there's monthly, there might be all of the above. If there's certain memberships, they might require you to spend a certain amount of money every month at the dining room, and if you don't, you're going to be charged a minimum whether you ate there or not. And so things like that. You might be able to join just social or just tennis or just spa. And so there's a whole variety of the way that you can do this. And, as long as you join a social, or at least a social membership, which might be the lowest level, you can come in and buy in the community. So our values are affected by these membership communities, and it's not just condo associations, it's condo communities. It could be, entire home communities where you will find this. And usually there's golf courses and spas and these elaborate clubhouses, and it is like living in a resort. They are gorgeous. Okay, so, but keep in mind, if you find that you found what you think is this steal, it's probably because there's a large buy-in. All right, numbers of associations and what is included. That's right, what? So you might find that the dues are $475, and you have to pay two different associations every single month, because one is this association, another one's this association, and they might have different rules. And you might buy into a community where, it's a large community. There are 10 separate homeowners associations, 10 separate boards, maybe even more. Okay, so you might be calling and go, hey, are there any rental restrictions in this community because I want to buy and rent? But you're talking to an association that's on the east side of this big complex, and you're buying on the south side. And so you just assume there's no rental restrictions, but hey, on the south side there are. So you've got to be very specific about what you are looking at and the due diligence on it. And when I tell you to get it in writing, especially something like that, you need it in writing. And then that way you can match up, and you know, to be lame too. So sometimes I will put in writing here, if this is what you're saying, sign this, and it's my particular unit and everything else. Now, then I've got to be sure that the person signing it is authorized to sign it. Because, you know, a lot of times if it's not run by a professional management company, you're talking about boards made up of residents of the community who are retired or not crossing T's and dotting I's. And, you know, I mean, we had to get a tenant approved in an association a couple weeks ago. And I finally got a hold of somebody who answered the phone and says, oh, well, you got to talk to, you know, Theodora, and she sleeps till noon, so don't call her till about 1. I mean, okay, this is how I'm doing business. So, you know, you're going to run into those things too. Okay, and then a co-op. Now, when you buy a co-op, you're buying the unit, but you don't own the land. You might not even own the recreational stuff. So you could buy a condo where you own the land, but none of the recreational stuff, the pools and all of these things are owned. So you're paying a separate fee for those things. And typically, you know, when you buy in a co-op, you're paying not only your association fee every month, but you are paying to lease the land. And so, you know, this is very popular in Hawaii. And, you know, you might want to find out, you'll go, wow, that beachfront community, that condo on the beach, why are they so cheap? Why are they so cheap? And you're visiting Hawaii and you're in love and you're like, let's pick up a property here in Hawaii. We'll come here all the time. And you just happen to find this deal, okay? And they see you coming because you're not from there, and it's obvious. And so you think, again, they're giving this away. I don't know why, but let's check it out. Well, you know, if you're not familiar with it, the reason why values would go down in a co-op building, regardless of the location, is because the lease is coming toward the end. So you might, 99-year leases are common. So if you're in year 80, 85, you know, the values will start dropping the more people are aware, you know, especially your buying people, and the word's getting out. So unless the renewal is already being renegotiated 15 years in advance, that gives people some peace of mind, you might start to see values drop. So you're like in year 95 and there's nothing going on as far as the renewal, you're going to see a problem with sales in there, and so the values will drop. So you might think you're stealing something, but then a couple years later your dues skyrocket or something because the renegotiation didn't go as well. So sometimes it helps to look at the old land lease and see if there are any restrictions from 99 years ago that would prevent those dues or whatever, you know, that could happen might happen. So what would those consequences look like, and what did you just buy into? So you know, always, you know, something that's too good to be true, you got to really look into that. All right, we're investors. We're looking for steals, but you know, you got to look for the red flags too. So keep these things in mind. All right, on a negative note, as if we didn't get to one yet, during a market correction, condos are the first to decline in value and the last to increase in value. Okay, so when, you know, a lot of people like to invest in condos because they're less expensive, but most investors are not professional investors. They're not following you know, someone who knows what they're doing. They're just following what the news says to do, okay? So by the time this mass of investor, the general public decides to invest, let's put it that way. By the time they decide to invest, they decide, okay, we're going to buy a condo because it's less expensive and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, the general public comes in last. They're the last to get involved. They weren't quick buying when things were still cheap because they were scared. And now that everybody's comfortable, they start buying condos. Well, guess what? Condos are the first thing to go down in value in any type of market correction. And so that's why so many investors get hurt that come into the market as the general public without any guidance. So condos are only a good investment if you really know what you're doing, you're getting good advice, you know your market's going to be stable for a while, and basically if you're in it for a long haul, you know, if you're flipping, it's easy to figure out where you're at and, you know, and not get caught, so to speak. So I like condos. I will buy anything. It's just a matter of price for me. So, but just keep in mind that you always want to buy right. You always want to be sure that you're going to be able to carry it if you had to drop rents because, you know, the market failed. You never want to just be vacant because, you know, a bad economy brings vandalism and you don't want to be vacant. So you want to know that I'm buying at a price, and my monthly cost is always, should always be able to be covered by whatever rent I could get, even if I had to drop it to whatever rents were when things fell before in your market. And so you just calculate it that way and keep yourself safe, or as safe as you can. So although good investments for investors, some of the best condo deals are bought in a market crash. So, I've done market cycles with you guys before and showed you when you should be buying, saving, buying, and selling, and really being able to make a lot of money on your money because you know when to buy and when to sell. So keep in mind that condo association dues may increase significantly when you're buying in a crash to cover those owners not paying. Because so many people, like I said, condos are the first to go down. So you've got people just walking out of their condos and then nobody's paying the dues. So in order for the building and the association to stay alive, they significantly increase everybody else, and you got to cover the vacant units that aren't there. So instead of freaking out, this is your time to be, flyering everybody and letting everybody on the board in the building know, hey, I'm your buyer, I will buy your units. So maybe you're buying on short sale, maybe you're doing some creative things. I mean, this is where I would love to be, a player there, because people already know me in the building, so. And even if you can't do it yourself, you can call me. There's always somebody that you can use as a resource to get creative instead of freaking out that your building's going down in values. Take advantage, A lot of people make their money. Most smart people make their money in crashes. So, these buildings lose their appeal because they're not being kept up, and it just gets easier and easier to steal condos, okay? So then you're buying them at the bottom and you're riding that wave back up and out of it, and look where we're at now. The market's doing very, very well, and anybody who sold these condos for $20, $30, $40, $50,000 are selling them for $100 or more. So now let's talk about buying at the auction. We kind of got into this a little bit last week, but I know where you guys are located in Tennessee, it's different than Florida. So you're going to, no matter where you are in the country, have to look at what your state rules and laws are for what actually sticks in a foreclosure when you buy it or gets extinguished and wiped out. When buying condos at foreclosure auction, the buyer does not have to be approved by the board, but the buyer is required to comply with the rules and regulations, including rental requirements. So in other words, I'm going to go bid on a condo this week at the courthouse, right? At the auction, the foreclosure auction. Well, I don't know if I'm going to win it or not, so I'm not going to go apply with the association and hope that I get approved so I can go buy at the auction. It's just not going to happen. So I'm automatically approved, okay, when I buy at the courthouse auction. And what I do is, I'm not obligated to go in and pay their $100 fee or whatever it is either. But in order to make nice with them, because I need them to approve everything I do, approve my buyer, my renter, and, my life is at the condo, I go on in and say, hey, great, nice to meet you. I'm so excited to, fix up this unit and do my role and my part for you guys. Here's my $100. Let me fill out some paperwork for you and give you my stuff just so they feel like I'm on their side, because I need them on my side. So I will go through those motions. So in states where a lender is foreclosing the delinquent condo dues, they may not extinguish at auction. Like here in Florida, when a lender is foreclosing on a unit, the condo association or homeowner association does not get wiped out. So whatever that homeowner owes, we will owe as the new buyer. Now that is how the law is here in Florida. If there are assessments, now that may be handled differently. So the dues might wipe somewhere, but the assessments may not. So obtaining these arrearage figures or assessment figures is difficult because everybody's, we can't give you that information. Okay, you obviously don't want to help you get your money because you won't give me the information. So, a lot of times when we bid on condos, we do better banging our head against the wall. So we just have to take a calculated guess. So this is how we do it. We can tell when they went into foreclosure the last time they made a mortgage payment. So let's assume that there's a mortgage on the property, the mortgage lender is foreclosing. And they stopped paying in January of 2015. Okay, so I would calculate that hopefully that's when they also stop paying their HOA dues. And I would say, all right, how much are the dues? So I'll take that from from then to today. I will look up the late fees in their condo docs, the interest rate, and then I will calculate attorney's fees, and I will add all that up, and it might be $15,000, it might be $25,000. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm trying to be very conservative too, so that I actually am more than what I'm hoping for, and that it would actually be less once I buy it. And I have to use that figure and stick it into my formula in order not to pay too much for the product. At the end of the day, it's worth the same amount of money no matter what is used. And so if I can buy what I think is this really big inflated figure and then find out that it's less, well, then I did even better. The worst thing is, the person didn't pay for 8 years, the condo association never filed a lien, you're calculating 4 years and you're off by thousands and thousands of dollars. So, this is a huge risk when the dues do not wipe and there's no record of it for you to find out, and they don't want to tell you over the phone. I love to try to get information, and I'll call and say, hey, we're going to bid on such and such at the courthouse. Can you tell us how much the dues are? No, I can't give you that information, ma'am. I understand, but if you could give it to me, what would it be? And I try to see if I can make a friend and see if I can get anything out of them and keep them on the phone. They might laugh and say, I'm sorry, I just can't give it to you. Well, you can give me an idea if it's between 5 and 7, is it 10? And sometimes they might say, it's a little bit more than that. So, if I keep digging rather than just hanging up, if I can get even close to a ballpark, it really does help me out. So you can try doing that. Okay. So, that's with that. So now, if the condo association is foreclosing, then the first mortgage lenders are protected. So the mortgages do not wipe, okay? And unless that mortgage is very, very low balance, or compared to the value of the property, no one's going to bid that thing. However, let me tell you this, a lot of people will bid the condo association lien because it's $5,000 or $7,000. They don't care how much the first mortgage is, it's not getting wiped. They don't even have one inkling or desire to pay it. They simply buy that thing at the auction, throw a tenant in there, and just get rent until the lender forecloses, and in hopes that they recoup the dues the money they just spent to buy it, and make some money on their money until they get foreclosed again. At which time maybe they'll try and make a deal with that lender or do a short sale or something, but typically they just end up losing that property again. Or bidding, at least they could bid on it when the lender takes that to sale. So that's something that people are doing. It doesn't mean it's right, but they're doing it. So second position or higher lenders are extinguished. Only the first is protected in an HOA foreclosure, okay, provided they are named in the suit and served. So there would be nothing due the condo association in a scenario where the condo is the foreclosing entity. Okay, however, any first mortgage would be owed. Obtaining payoff information for any mortgage can be difficult because you're not a party to being the owner, and you can try and calculate based on the loan amount, the interest rate, and all the things that you find in public record what might be owed, but depending on how long they didn't pay, you're hard pressed to calculate where they left off, late fees, and all of these items. So you can do a title search and you see, there's a $100,000 loan taken out in 2010, but that doesn't give you a balance of what's owed. And so you're still unable to really determine if you bought it at foreclosure because the condo lien was foreclosing, how much you still owe the first. And utilities are another problem. Many times water is not included in the condo association payments, and therefore we have to try and get a water utility lien payoff. And our utility departments down here, they do not file liens. So guys, when you are doing due diligence, the only information you're going to be able to find and use, to your advantage is what is recorded in public records. So if the person who's owed money does not record anything and says, hey, this is what is owed to us, and you can't get them on the phone or they don't want to give you any information, you are stuck guesstimating. And, that's not the best way to do things. That's why buying at auction is risky. So everything I shared with you is how it works in Florida. We are a judicial foreclosure state, and your state may be different. Okay, so now as a rental, I look for minimum 2-bedroom units. Okay, so 2-bedroom, 2 baths would be wonderful, but I will buy a 2-1. I prefer at least a 2-1.5. Okay, but a minimum 2-bedroom unit, a low condo association fee. So I prefer $200 or less, and no rental restrictions. Okay, among other items to consider. So my bottom, first thing I'm looking for in a condo is 2-bedroom, low condo association fee. Okay, I have under contract right now a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage townhome, and the dues there are $298 a month. And this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage. There are amenities. It's on a canal. It has a beautiful view. It's built in 2004. It's gated community. So I'm comfortable with that. It's a different animal, This is not a condo that's going to be the first to go down. This is a townhome. So as a flip, guys, not a rental, but as a flip, I don't want any less than 2 bedrooms. Again, I want that low fee. I want to know that whoever I'm selling it to would have the option to make it a rental and make cash flow. And great market conditions, right? Because I want to know that I'm getting in and out of a condo because they're hot right now and they're going to sell. So if the market changes during my ownership of that 2-bedroom condo with low COA dues and no rental restrictions, then I can easily switch to a landlord position until the market changes and I can sell it again. So 1-bedroom units with high dues will be the condos that investors get stuck with. I do not like to buy one. Now, I will buy anything, like I said. So I will buy 1-bedrooms, but I'm buying it super, super cheap. The last 1-bedroom I bought was, it was late last year, and I bought it for $20,000. It rents, the dues are $180, and it rents for $875 a month. Okay, so that is a killer investment. And so I'm very happy with those numbers, right? I can recoup my investment quickly. So it's not that I won't buy it. There's a price to it. Okay, but 1-bedroom units are typically very small, and the dues are very high typically. So like for us, the majority of 1-bedroom condos are 55 and older communities, and the dues are much higher in those communities because they have so many amenities that they offer. So for $350 a month, I've got a unit that rents for $750 a month, and that's worth my taxes and my insurance and everything else. I'm making $1 at the end of the day. So if I'm going to make that $1, then I only want to pay $10 for it. You understand? So I don't want to get stuck with something. Or in other words, if I get stuck with something, I don't want to feel like I'm stuck. I want to feel like, hey, who cares? That was a good investment. I'm just making money while I own it. So I know I'm talking quickly, but I think you get the picture. So as you can see, there is a lot more due diligence to consider when purchasing condos. And whether for yourself or as an investment, prepare and use a checklist to ensure that you find a condo that's best suited for your purpose, whether you're wanting one for yourself, to move into, a second home, as a rental, or to flip. And so these are some items that you can use on a checklist that would include all of the items of due diligence that we've gone over in this 2-part class, and it allows you to, really make sure you've covered all your bases. So, you want to make sure that it is a condo and not a co-op, and if it is a co-op, where are they in that land lease time frame? How many associations and what am I really paying? What are the dues? What do the condo docs say? What are the rules and regulations? Can I have the dogs I think I can have, or my birds or my pets or my kids? What's the budget? How are their assessments? Are there reserves for things? If the reserve accounts are looking good, that's wonderful, because that means they're not going to raise the dues on me. Are there any pending assessments going on? What was the capital improvements that were recently done, so I know that roofs aren't coming up right after I buy it. Insurance, what does their insurance cover? What will mine cost to fill in the gap? What are they restricting in this development? Is it the age, the way I take title, the hours that my crew can work? Is that going to set me back and extend my renovation time because my crew can only work 3 hours a day? What are the application fees, that approval process and timeline? Do they let me get my tenant in right away, or do I have to wait 60 days? The rental restrictions? How many times per year can I rent it? If I want to do a vacation rental, is it even going to work there? The application fee for my tenant's requirements. We talked last week about how I'm going to require a security deposit, and depending on the condo association, they might also charge my tenant a security deposit to make sure that they take good care of the amenities. And then pet restrictions, any other restrictions for my renters. How many units in the whole complex are rented and owned by landlords, and is that going to affect my retail value and my resale value? What amenities are included? Again, what deposits are required? Are memberships a part of this whole thing? So, there's a lot more to consider in your due diligence when buying a condo. So most of the information you need can be found online. Because everything is public record, you can go online and find condo docs and actually read them. You want to read through all the amendments from back to whenever the declarations were recorded all the way to today to see that if there were rental restrictions, there aren't any now, or when you read the initial docs, there were no rental restrictions, but now there are. So you really want to be sure what you're buying, and those amendments will be filed through the years as they change their rules. So as you investigate different condominium complexes that you are considering investing in, you will begin to eliminate condo buildings based on the criteria and the things we talked about, and then you'll have a small list of condo buildings that you want to keep an eye on when they come on the market in those communities, and then you let your realtors know, hey, I want everything that comes on the market in these buildings, or if you have access to the MLS, you're going to set up your own searches for those particular places, and as soon as they come on the market, you're able to make an offer. So I hope that this was informative for you and taught you a lot, and that you can have better luck with your condo hunts.
Hey, Sharon.
Yeah.
Do you have these checklists?
No, I just try to remember everything. Of course I do.
Can you maybe send it to us? And if anybody here wants one, I'll shoot it to them. Or you can contact Sharon herself, and she'll put her information up on the screen.
Let's see. Yep, there we go.
Any other questions for Sharon? Yes, my brother was in a golf course community that put a little condo section, more townhouses. So he was paying $800 a month maintenance fee to his condo association, $400 a month maintenance fee to the golf course, because that had a gate at the street entrance and the flowers and stuff at the wall around it. And they had to pay a $75,000 membership fee to the golf course that they sell, to the next person as they go. So.
Yeah. Where was that?
In the Forest Country Club in Fort Myers, Florida.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's Larry McCumber. Larry, I have your tapes, and you're not here now. See?
I'll be there next week.
I'll leave them on the rack for you over here.
Okay.
Sharon, this is Larry McCumber. Larry teaches real estate investing, kind of a 101 course for us. Sharon is kind of soup to nuts here in West Palm Beach. She does everything. And, fix and flips and all kinds of investing, property management. Larry's background, just so you know, Sharon, he's done a tremendous amount of real estate investing, particularly around the Atlanta area, although he now lives in Texas. And he flies a lot, or did. There's a whole backstory on that.
Good to meet you.
Likewise.
Sharon, I had a question. I think we had briefly touched on this before, and this is regarding the relates back doctrine, the lien priority doctrine in Florida. You said that, and sometimes the actual practical application is different than the statutory component, but you said that foreclosures, judicial foreclosures in Florida do not wipe association liens. My understanding was, and obviously you're there, so you know, but having read this, that it was prior to 2008 that it was the HOA docs that governed that, and the default prior to 2008 was that first liens took priority. That after 2008, they used that sort of relates back doctrine kind of to protect all of these buildings that crashed because they didn't have any income anymore. So they related the association dues back to the original recording of the documents in the public record. So I was under the impression that, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, and it might be something that we'd have to ask an attorney anyway, that if you had a mortgage before 2008, the first mortgage almost always has lien priority, and when it forecloses, wipes out the condo fees after that. And so you're saying that it doesn't?
The best of my knowledge, I mean, I bid almost daily.
Okay.
We do not wipe out HOA dues, except at a tax deed sale. At a tax deed foreclosure, the HOA dues wipe. But at a lender foreclosure, a first mortgage lender will foreclose. The HOA dues do not wipe. If the HOA forecloses, the first mortgage does not wipe, but the other guys do.
And the only other question I had, just for curiosity's sake, do you have a specific formula that you use? Some people use certain multiples that they like for single families, and I didn't know if you just simply add the fee to your carrying costs and use the same formula that you use for your single families, or maybe a little better multiple because you don't have.
You mean the arrearages?
No. Your cash flow numbers that you want for an investment that you choose.
Oh yeah, I include the HOA dues as part of my expenses, and I still look for the same. I want a certain ROI regardless of how much the dues are. I just have to buy it for less. I can't go in and negotiate dues, but I can negotiate my purchase price if that's what you're asking me.
I didn't know if you actually had a formula that differed for condominiums. Like
it only differs by the association.
For example, in Nashville, I mean, you'd be really lucky to get something according to what we call the 1% rule. But I didn't know if maybe
you mean how much rent you get?
That's correct.
So in other words, if you get $1,800 a month, you want to pay $180 or less?
Correct. And also, I guess my question to you would be, because it's a condominium, you say, hey, maybe I want to get better rent because it's not going to appreciate as much and I expect better cash flow.
Even the 1% figure for me, it's a rule. So if they say, hey, Sharon, it gets $1,800 a month and you can get it for $170, I'm still going to stick it into my formula, but I'm going to be interested because of that general rule, like you're saying. It's going to have already piqued my interest because it's there. But I don't have a rule like that for the condos. I just, I put in the figures. I'm really a stickler on comparables. I will look at the pictures. I will look at, the actives and the solds. I want to see what other people are looking at compared to what this one looks like. And I want to see what sold, what just sold, what did it look like, how long did it take to sell, does it look like the days on market in the complex are increasing? I want to look, I just look at everything, and I look at it a lot more carefully when it's a condo. But right now our market is very, very hot down here, and I pretty much, if I put a property out, I have 2 properties going out tomorrow morning, they'll be sold tomorrow. And that's how hot the market is.
All right.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Any other questions, Sharon? You want to get the lights? All right. Well, that is some of the fantastic education that we get here at Green. And as you see, it is not just webinars and such. This is live education right from the teacher's mouth. You can ask questions. You can, she can see your response. You can see if you understand what she's talking about. And you can see the sincerity in her voice too, in her face. So we have about 25, sometimes even 35 live shows on like this a month in the Green School, the Green Education program we have. But right now we would like to let's go around the room. It's a short where everybody is today, so we can introduce yourself and who are you and what do you? I know Lloyd told me to take care of you, so I know Lloyd brought you in. So tell us who you are and what do you do and what have you been doing?
My name is Sharon Restrepo, and I'm from Millersburg, and I have been doing investments some years ago. I was trying to get back into it now. So that's where I'm at. And I worked in the hospital where I met Lloyd at. So, and he was telling me about what's going on down here, giving me the treatment and so.
Yeah, Lloyd's a machine. He's out there door knocking and putting teams together and going out and making deals. You see all the deals he makes. He's one of our most loyal members here, and he's a good man to follow around. Matter of fact, Irina, helped goes door knocking with him too. So she, polishes her skills. And of course, iron polishes iron. So, the more you go out, the better you get. Steve and I go knock on doors. There's nothing wrong with knocking on doors is probably the best way to make money in the short term. It's either just go blindly out there and knock on anybody's door, or find a house that has high grass or whatever, knock on their door. Or, Steve, we all pull up lists of pre-foreclosure houses, and they're fairly easy to get. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for, but knock on the door. If you're afraid of knocking on the door, then get some other else to knock on the door, but that's the nicest way.
Looking for when you're knocking on the door, someone to sell.
Listen, we have classes here. We have scripts here. Lloyd has scripts. I mean, go with some experience, or just walk in your own neighborhood. Just say, "Hey, I'm walking around the neighborhood," and introducing myself to the people. And by the way, do you know anybody selling a house around here? I got friends moving in. My sister-in-law wants to move in here. I'm a buyer. Tell the truth. They all know that everybody's not going to. But make friends with your own neighborhood. Forget going to a neighborhood. Go to your neighborhood, because it gives you a good excuse to get out there and walk, exercise, get a little sun, and you want to make that relationship, make that same walk your dog or whatever, the same, And so they see you. Those people who run into a neighborhood and canvass the whole neighborhood and get out, they know those kind of people. I saw you last week walking around. Oh yeah, I live around the corner. Strike up the conversation. You don't have to talk about houses all the time, but eventually, hey, do you know anybody selling a house around here? I'm an investor. Again, you can say anything you want. And when they say yes, that's when you get scared. Oh, gee. Now what do I do?
I know.
You do what I do. You know what I do? I call Steve. All right? You call Lloyd. Who calls Steve? Or he calls Les. You phone a friend. You call somebody up who knows what to do next. And when you start to know what to know next, then when you get to the next sticking point, then you call because every time you learn more, your value goes up. If you just called Steve and say, "Hey, I saw a house that had high grass, and we went out and found it, we want to give you $500. But I found a house that had high grass, and I tracked down the owner. Took me a week, because this lady, we didn't have to do a Street, or whatever.
Hey, Mark. I hate to cut you off. I want to know who they are.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I know who he is too. For you. I know you get going sometimes.
So anyway,
Yeah,
who are you?
Yeah.
I'm Lisa Tangelo. I'm an investor of about 30 years. I'm buying, hold, and I'm doing a subdivision right now. And
Awesome. Where are you buying? Or where do you?
I'm Portland, Tennessee.
Okay.
Portland.
Great.
And got 18 building lots coming into Portland, Franklin, Kentucky
You from
area.
Boston?
New York.
Okay, I wasn't sure where that accent was.
So I was invested in my own businesses for quite a while. Now I want to work on.
She's the one that came here at the plot plan of the subdivision.
He wasn't here last week.
Oh.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, I wasn't here 2 weeks ago.
No, she came with a plot plan of, it was actually, the street was in Tennessee and the land was in Kentucky.
Are you building it yourself?
I'm meeting with a builder tomorrow, actually.
I know. Do you know Chris Helson by any chance? Chris Helson?
Helson? No.
He does a lot of work up there.
Oh, is that right?
He's a
Was
good
he an
guy.
architect, builder?
He probably does some building, flips, renovates. I've seen him at the auctions in Sumner County.
Okay.
So
Yeah, she is in a lot of deals. She came in with a cryptorium mausoleum project.
That's a big project. That's a fabulous.
I'm always interested in seeing that stuff. If you
Yeah.
happen to,
Okay. If you give me your card,
So
I'll send you an email.
Sure. Are you actually physically developing this land in Portland? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's.
I'm going to do it by, I guess, by a limited partnership. I've got some friends of mine who just want to park some money and hold. And
You had it tied up in contract?
I own it already. I own it outright already.
Nice.
So then I'm just going to split off 6.5, 7 acres.
Okay.
We might have it around here somewhere.
So,
Oh, anyway, go ahead.
Melvin Reed.
Melvin was here a couple weeks ago.
I'm basically new to the investors game, so
You've been in the email chain on a couple of these properties, right? With Yvette?
no.
He came off of a meetup.
I thought I'd seen your name on the email chain on a couple of these wholesale deals.
I'm actually working on my first deal now. It's under contract, and hopefully I get closed before the end of this month.
Well, good.
Where and how much?
Right here in Nashville. The owner is actually wanting like 190 for it, so I'm just trying to
Part of town.
right there off of past dumps.
Okay.
I'm not from here, so I don't know the area.
Hermitage?
It might be.
Could be a good deal.
It's over there off of Red Cedar Court. 37214.
214.
Yeah, 37214.
So that's Donaldson. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's hard to find under 200,000 over there, so it could be a good deal. Yeah. Anytime that I'm all over. Anytime you find something, feel free to ask, because I'm everywhere. So I'll give you the straight, the skinny, yes, good deal, bad deal,
Yeah, Steve knows the numbers of the house right here.
and then you said you buy in Murfreesboro? Okay, gotcha. Do you have anything working right now, or are you just kind of jumping back in again?
I'm just jumping back in.
Actually, I have a license. I hang my license in Murfreesboro with Exit Realty there. I don't. It's just a tool. I mean, I'm primarily an investor, auction buyer, but that's what I hang it down there. So.
Do you recommend getting a license? Do you recommend getting a salesperson's license? I used to be New York State license.
Yeah, sometimes.
It does help
Stop.
with searching, with
operator you are.
as opposed to using Zillow or Realtor.com.
Real tracks.
The only thing you have to do,
Not for everyone. Some people
and if you just want to do strictly
stuff on the edge a little more. I'm pretty straight.
investing, the only thing you have to do is make sure you just claim. And since you already did that, it's okay.
Yeah.
I used to tell people, do you want a job or do you want to make money? And if you want a job, go get a realtor's license. You want to make money. And I'm a broker myself in Florida. And is it worth it? Yeah, because you know what? A friend of yours wants to sell something. Hey, you get a quick commission. Because when you go knocking on the door, and this is part of our knock on door training. You know, do you want to sell? You know, anybody want to sell? Yeah, I want to sell my house. Well, what do you want to sell for? Well, you know, $260. Well, he wants to pay $190 because he's an investor. And you know, this way you can say, well, you know what? I can list it for you. It's probably worth $260, and I can probably get that for you for listing. But you know, and I always say, but now you'll have a bunch of investors traipsing through your house. I used to use traipse a lot. You know, somebody wants anybody traipsing through their house. You know, touching all your stuff. Nobody wants everybody touching all their stuff either. So I'll give you $190 right now for it. This way you know exactly how much you're going to get for it. You don't have to worry about showing it. You don't have to worry about any damages that you didn't tell me yet about. So now you got the best of both worlds. Sometimes you can.
I think it's a no-brainer. People like to make this argument. The only kind of person, in my opinion, that shouldn't get their license is someone that really just does stuff that's kind of edgy. It's a profit center. I don't see how it can't be a profit center. What we do.
You recommended that.
I always recommend it.
No,
I can list my own property. I can save that money. I do, just like Mark said, I have access to CRS data platform to all the comparables. I don't have to go out and sign up as someone's assistant to do that. So it costs a little bit of money. I used to do it full time, but I enjoy the investment side more. But it's a tool, so I can list a friend's house for nothing, or my father's house for nothing. And because I'm actively in this business, it's absolutely. It is an absolute no-brainer for me. Yes.
And you're more informed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything is about education. That's why we started this, because everybody, you know, a lot of people just do this wrong and illegal. You know, so by you know, you get a little education over there, you get a little education over here, you put them two together, and you make some money.
It's just, there are certain limitations you have to disclose. So people are supposed to know that you're an agent if you're engaging in a transaction. But other than that, I cannot think of one instance where having a brokerage license has ever hurt me in a real estate deal, and it has made me. Well, I've sold lots and lots of houses, so it's made me piles and piles of money. So I can't think of it.
See, with Green, we're trying to go global. Okay, we're trying. You know, we want groups, and you know, Sharon does a show on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock our time, showing off-market property in West Palm Beach, Florida. You have friends of yours who want to move to Florida. He said, "We want to move on the east side." Well, listen, I got a friend of mine, Sharon, down there. And you call Sharon, hey, listen, take care of my friend and give me a 25% referral fee. You know, you have something on the east side, you go call Larry Simons down there in Fort Myers, who's one of our trainers, and another one of our groups are starting down there. You want to do something up in the Tampa, St. Pete area, we have people over there. Orlando, we got people there. And you can get commissions. Texas, you know, we're starting groups in Texas. So as these groups start, as we grow with investment groups, you can grow in, this is it, the two things you need for real estate is knowledge and people, network. So we designed Green to have two levels. We have 20-some, 30-some classes that teach everything from tax savings to business to self-improvement to speaking to all kinds of tax savings. And the other one is start your own group. I want Lloyd to start his own group in Murfreesboro. Yes, he likes to come up here. Well, you know what? You have one down there on Monday, and you come up here. Heck, Irene and I, we go to Clarksville, and the girl who starts at Clarksville, she's like one of those send a card girls. You know, those ones that automatically mail out birthday cards for you. She has a group in Clarksville, Cool Springs, Hendersonville.
Mount Juliet.
Yeah, or Mount Juliet, and then I think 4 times a week. I mean, she boom, 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 boom. that's just what you have to do. Now, we want to do that, but I'd like to go big. So I want to have it all over the country, and they'll all be broadcasted live. So if you want to watch you can watch Sharon's show at 10 o'clock. Go get one of our cards. At the back of the card, with the Zoom, same link you watch here, you can watch Sharon. And if Sharon doesn't have a property off market, what she does a little education show for us. So there's all kinds of cool stuff. All right, well, let me bring up Steve here and finish this up with the finalization of green.
Thanks, guys. When moving out to your car and going up and down the stairs, make sure I'm running. It's time to hit the gym again. Anyway, primarily right now, I'm an auction buyer, and then we have several people who are usually with a group out of town this week. But we have people here that partner together. A couple of guys who are really active buyers. So anybody that has any kind of flip deals, you can run them by myself, Larry, who's here, Les, sometimes Lloyd. And then we have some other people that are a little more active in the actually out hustling, just like Mark said, knocking door to door. Yeah, so and we partner with we try to focus on the acquisitions, and obviously people coming here with do deals. So anything that you have, definitely call me anytime. Whether it's just an opinion or because I'm relatively broad based in Middle Tennessee. It could be Murfreesboro.
I mean, we bought a trailer last week for we sold for $39,000. So you want to get in easy? We have. We're still doing this because we like to have product up on the shelf for you guys that come in who you were just starting. Instead of you trying to find your own stuff, well, here we already picked it for you. So depending on how deep you want to get in, as little as it's $40,000, or did you buy anything today?
So
usually when Steve goes out, he kills something.
Yeah, no, it's hit and miss. I mean, this stuff comes in waves. I've replaced my real estate brokerage primarily with auction-based business and wholesale deals.
And how do you find out that there is an auction? Do you just go to your website?
I've been doing it for years. I teach people I teach members of Green. That gets more into our membership base online, into that hardcore stuff when we start peeling that away. Yes, we do have some of it with our training online. Auctions themselves, and Sharon would attest to this, she's not here with us anymore, are not easy, so it's not what I recommend for everyone. And it takes a while to get your feet under you. Usually it's easiest to work with people that already have a base at the auctions and just work through a wholesale network. Because the amount of time that you actually spend, it becomes a job in and of itself. But it is good to know that people, like Les is also an extremely active auction buyer. He's here. It's good to know those people because they're just looking to do a lot of times quick.
I'd like to go to one or two
wholesale
just see what
deals.
it is.
Go to auction.com, Nashville. They'll tell you when they are.
Well, it's in summer. Got them in summer.
Well, anywhere. Wherever you are. Auction.com. I'm sure you'll go to the local thing. And go there and watch for a while.
It's Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Well, if you
I
just
just bought one. I just bought 252 Clubs Road.
Oh, wow.
That one,
Did you buy it at auction?
No, I bought it Friday before the auction.
Oh, okay.
I went right to the bank.
There you go.
I remember that.
I went right to the bank. It's a double wide on a 2 acres.
I remember that property.
Permanent
Yeah.
foundation.
Yeah, it's in Portland. I remember that.
Yeah, we were inside of it where we had
It was
now.
I thought the auction price was supposed to be like 60. It was,
63.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I remember that.
63.
Yeah, good for you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
What's your wife?
63.
That's
Well, I had to make the arrears up, so it was 63 plus 6,200 was the arrears. So
I think I was somewhere else that day, but I remember the property.
yeah, it didn't go to auction.
Yeah.
They pulled it before it did. Because actually I cremated the man who lived in the house.
There you go.
So,
There's another business. Mark and I discussed it. That's your Florida business. That's your
And
Florida business.
now I know where to bring those bucks.
He's got all the connections in Florida to take that business to the next level.
and you know, the sad part about it was that the gentleman died in October.
Yeah.
I offered to buy the house from the children because I knew they were going back to Alabama at that time.
Yeah.
And give them $2,500. Because they said, no, we're just going to give the house back to the bank. And I was like, oh, let's go do that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
finally, so they told me, I got followed up a little bit, and she said, oh, my sister's going to buy it. She got $10,000. And I thought,
So that's you said that's like the drug addict sister.
Yes, exactly. And I just assumed that it was. So I always call my families a couple of months, how's everything? Do you need any help with insurance claim
Follow
forms
up,
or this
yeah.
and that? And so I said, oh, by the way, what happened to your dad's house? Oh, it's going to go to foreclosure on May 14th. Oh. So
Do you
I
give them
just,
the real ashes, or you just fill like ashes
No, of
around
course
that
we
you just
do.
put it in the jar?
yeah, that's what happened. That's
You
what
know, you always wonder. I mean, how do you know? You look at the thing, and there's ashes all over the thing. You just scoop them up.
No, there is not. There
Couple
Anyway,
dogs, and you
individual.
know.
Just so you guys know, we are starting a company here that is it's an education-based network marketing company. So our initial price point is $99 a month. And then we have some more extensive training at $199 a month. We will be rolling out for the people that want to get in at our absolute highest price point. We fundamentally believe in not charging what the big real estate gurus out there charge. But we will have really intense coaching and training with our program called Mentor with Millionaires, where you actually get to engage millionaires live, interactive. That will be $999 a month, but the entry point to join the company is $99 a month. We've engaged the top consulting firm in the world to build the company, and it's been kind of a very I'm not going to say relaxed, it's just a casual process of making sure that we have all the pieces together the right way to bring it to everyone. What we do here is sort of, we want to focus culture, even though that is a business opportunity, we also have an opportunity to make money in real estate. So we feel like the two worlds come together well with network marketing. And also, instead of charging somebody thousands of dollars for education like a lot of these companies do, we can reach thousands of people, and that's what we're going to do. So very soon, and you guys are welcome to grab a spot in the downline, or we can talk more about it. But we're going to be rolling out our Founders Club, and the first 500 people will be the top spots in the downline, and we'll have an income advantage when we start bringing other people in.
Where is that information? We can look at?
It's on the website. It's Learn for Free.
There's some flyers.
We got some
Okay, good.
flyers.
Okay.
We are changing our compensation plan. We're simplifying it, bringing it to a unilevel. That's why we hired the consulting firm that we hired. We had originally designed it 4 years ago, but it's kind of like this. When you have a business like this, it costs a lot of money, and we didn't want to have to give up pieces of it. So we wanted to be able to make sure that we paid for everything as we went. And so it's been a very careful process of not having to give up ownership of that.
Partners want to look at the bottom line of making money. Steve and I told him when I first met him that I don't need that anymore. I'm already, like my kids are gone. I don't need any. We just want to, basically help people. And
But it's also it's an equity stake where you give up control of your vision and your business when you have to solicit equity partners. And so we've been able to maintain it, even though the concept we came up with about 4 years ago, and so we were putting some of these pieces together. themselves and they're going to change their lives, you're going to come do stuff like this. You're going to come meet people. You're going to come talk to people. We're going to talk about deals. A lot of people just don't do that. And we are creating that culture, and that's what the network marketing helps you do. It's kind of like taking an investor club, putting it on steroids. We're giving an investor club an education platform. We're not going to let some guy come in and try to sell you a $20,000 or $40,000 something. That's not going to happen. And we have all of this training, as Mark had mentioned, it's live and interactive and online. We get a certain factor for scalability, because we can pay one trainer and then they can do group training, and we record and we archive all of it. So
Yeah, so you can go up where you are and have your own, and we'll hold your hand and show you how to start your own meeting up there or down there or anywhere you
There's
go.
nothing like this up in Portland.
No,
I drove
and you know what?
It's 7 minutes for me to drive here.
yeah,
With a $99 camera and laptop and a bar TV, because a lot of people meet in Jonathan's or whatever, you can have your own meeting and it can be live. So friends of yours, and especially if you're up in the country up there, where it's a long way even to drive to your place, they can watch from their place. And to get education, of course, you don't get local people to come on in, like a local trust guy but if you need something, we beam Sharon in from West Palm Beach, Florida. We get these people in from anywhere.
realistically, it's one of the, obviously you guys have all done a little bit of work here already. But the first thing that everyone asks me is, what do I do to start? Well, a lot of times it's all about people. You have to get to know people. And so being a part of a meetup group and actually getting out, beginning the conversation, it's half of what we do is engagement with people. It's literally, yes, it's totally.
More than half, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I
And
felt so comfortable the first day I came here. The very first day. And I've been to a couple others.
Yeah.
Very standoffish.
That's why
very
we-
cliquish.
That's why we first thing we did, I said, listen,
Yeah,
we
you
don't
put
want
it right
chairs
into
in
it.
here.
Yeah.
There's no star. We got round tables because we want to know what everybody. We don't know. I mean, you look at you. You're developing a big thing, and you know, here's a guy just walked in. I don't know. He just bought his first deal. Then he might sell it to the guy. This is it's relationship.
I'm going to give you guys a little bit of the 5,000-foot view, and I don't want to keep you too long. We've had some of our deals go long in the past because I want to respect everyone's time. But the 5,000-foot view of this is, in a sense, exactly that. Because when you build a network marketing company, there is a natural antagonism between me charging you something and then the amount of time that I have to spend with you and then what I get back from you. So let's say I'm a traditional seminar guru or real estate educator. I want to sell you a course. Let's say I'm going to put something out there, and I certainly have the pedigree to be able to do this. And I'm going to sell a $999 weekend, and I'm going to train people in foreclosures, auctions, short sales, flipping, whatever. And I go out and sell that. There's a natural antagonistic component. I've only got 1 or 2 days. And quite frankly, do I want to keep answering my phone when you call back? But in other words, what's the incentive? I'm not saying that I wouldn't. What's the incentive? So when you walk into a company like this, you're in a network marketing company, I want you to come back. I want you to bring your friends. We have 2 business opportunities now. We have one that's actually related to real estate and one that's related to the actual business of the network marketing company. So that creates a mentor-based relationship. That inverts the norm. So the person that brings you cares for you. Now, I certainly encourage everybody to attend every possible investor club meeting or networking meeting that they possibly can. But I do think we're creating something that has a little bit more glue and a little bit more culture and is meant to draw people together and a little bit less of the shark and bait attitude sometimes that you get with some of these meetings where they bring someone in new and possibly the wholesalers get a little aggressive. I see that sometimes, and No, I think it is a little more woman friendly. But as we grow it, the idea is that the next spark goes and sets up their meeting in Portland. Murfreesboro will be covered. You don't have to worry about that in a big way. But you are more than welcome to start up your own meetup in Murfreesboro too. And are you in that?
The beauty with this is you have friends in Washington D.C.
Yes.
or Canada or Germany. They can get in the meeting just as easy as anybody else. So this way you can have people from overseas, from Philippines. You know, these people buy a lot of property. California people, they have tons of money. They can't buy anything over there. You show them some property in Murfreesboro, and they're going, holy shit, there's still houses out there for $150,000.
Yeah.
I have 28 deals in process right now with members of our group in this room. So partnerships, and in different places, like some here, some there. We go from Waverly all the way to Chattanooga. So varying places. And
I go from Philadelphia to Florida.
Yeah, you got Florida too. So yes, that is the vision. That is the vision that you can pick it up and start your own meetup group, get your own club going. Try to focus on acquisition. What I have to tell people though, like anything, is when you run this as a business, like anything else, that we haven't actually formally got into the replication process. So when we onboard you officially, when we launch, there's going to be a method. Wash, rinse, repeat. Invite your friends, wash, rinse, repeat. That kind of thing. Okay. We have that. We have a marketing director, but we're not pushing that right now. So the business of doing all of this, the real estate side or the network marketing side, I try not to oversell. I try to be very realistic in my promises to people. Some people have different personality types. Some people are aggressive. Some people are more comfortable in a supporting environment. And I try to recognize some people are very good in conversation. I can tell you, quite frankly, you get Wade that comes in here, he's better at actually getting a deal than me. Because I'm kind of very, and that can intimidate people sometimes. Whereas Wade is just real soft and he listens. And people like him. Not that people don't like me, but my mom was a school teacher and my dad was in the military. So there's a way that I come forward that is maybe too aggressive for some people. And so the personality type, and what I'm getting to is this is a lifestyle. We don't get rich overnight, but if you continue to pay attention to this and do what we're doing the way we're doing it, you will get rich. In possibly real estate and or the network marketing side.
I had 2 meetings today on East Nashville, and some of these kids, Ethan actually, 20-some-year-old kid, and I said, listen, this real estate, sometimes, you always have this vision of building wealth through real estate. That's the big thing out there. I said, well, when you hear that, who do you hear it from? Well, there's big gurus. I said, well, when they're being the guru, are they selling real estate or are they selling themselves selling real estate? They're talking. They're networking. So they're selling the network, not the real estate. Real estate's a tool that they're selling. So it's the broker in Florida. I said, if you want investors to come to your office, have a meeting. If you want to start investing, well, invite 2 or 3 or 4 of your girlfriends or friends out there who want to do some investing. You need a little core group of people like you that want to do some.
And quite frankly, ask for the
this is what we're doing. Now you say, well, listen, let's get
ask for
this
closing. I mean, if you need, depending on, you could be a wholesaler, but if you wanted to invest and you needed capital to invest, find a partner. That's kind of
that's what I mean. You have a sit at home and invite 3 people and start talking real estate. Every Tuesday, let's come here and talk real estate. Because you can't just do it all of a sudden. I'm going to be a realtor or be an investor.
For what it's worth, quite frankly, one deal pays for this office space for an entire year. It's absolutely worth it to run a meeting like this. And then it doesn't happen overnight. But we've definitely made deals just because of having this space here and reaching out to people and trying to build our group up. So, and we want to have you guys every week. So, thanks for coming. Thank you, America. Thank you, Green.
Doc, who do we have next week?
Who we got next week, Doc?
We have the beginning of a two-part series. We have a mortgage lender coming in, Christina Livingston. And then after that, believe it or not, we're going to be at the 4th of July. So that is the next 3 weeks right there. I'm working on a couple of different items going forward into July, August, September. Just to give you a sense
it's one of the show orders.
Yeah, we've got an interesting one coming up in July. He's a specialist in doing the books for real estate investors. Because real estate investors, from what I understand, are notorious at being able to understand the deals, but then keeping the books is another question altogether. So what he does is
we like to teach. Anybody can make money. But if you lose it all because the tax guy puts a huge lien on your business and shuts it down, or the market turns and you didn't put anything away for a rainy day, so we try to teach you to diversify. We don't tell you, well, bring in a cryptocurrency guy and say buy from this guy or buy gold or buy stock. We just open doors to say this. You should be taking care of your family. Do you have life insurance? Not only can you use life insurance, you can use that to buy real estate with and protect your family. So we try to do the all the mistakes that we make. Basically all the mistakes that I made, I love for teachers to fix it.
Yes, and
So anyway, thanks a lot, and
you talking about my personal thing?
Yeah, business.
see you guys next week.
All right.